Okay. Preview loading. Button has been pressed. Any second now. There we are. All right. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 403, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rett.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture. That's the old intro. Hold on. We talk home labs, servers, all things PC. Sometimes some Star Trek. Gosh, where was I at? This is the kind of week it's been. Good Lord. Trying to learn a new intro. I filmed a video yesterday, and I'm midway through editing it. Normally I shoot a video in about 45 minutes. I think it was an hour and 17 minutes is what it took me to do like a normal length video yesterday, because I just did not have the words, just couldn't put them together, couldn't string a sentence together. So this is gonna be a good show. We're gonna get the energy going. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Here we go. Buckle up, baby.
Buckle up.
Get loose.
Screw it. We'll do it live. Let's see. Gosh, I don't even remember where I was. Cool. Let's just start over. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 403. Let's do this thing. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol in the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rett, Steve. Those are still the old hosts. Gosh darn it. It is so hard to break a 4-year habit.
Yeah.
Let alone a 7-year habit.
Yeah.
Talk to all the hosts from Talking Heads. John and Steve are still over there, but Rett, Tom, Cheese, all the hosts from Talking Heads. We'll get this eventually. How are you, Rett?
I'm doing great. I'm doing better watching, this intro. I'm realizing like, hey, I'm not alone. I'm, in the middle of my week here. And I'm hoping that a lot of viewers now feel the same way. You know? I know, unfortunately, like, luckily, the show's on time. We had to rush through the battlefield to get here, but I would never miss an episode of Talking Heads just because, war-torn Pacific Northwest.
Little something like, Portland is burning to the ground. How many times is that this decade now? I've lost count.
We're getting really good at rebuilding.
Yeah.
Really good.
I mean, it's gotten so bad here, we've had to import police from Colombia. Yeah, I mean, our local force isn't enough, nor is the National Guard or the Army. Like, we're throwing, South American police forces out there. Whatever gets the job done,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you'd seen images of the Portland Frog, you'd know why they need all the help they can get.
Yeah, so. I mean, Portland Frog, Chicken Man, they're all out there. I'm sure by tonight they'll be eating each other. Cats and dogs, all manner of mayhem.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I was thrilled to find out in a roundtable discussion about the situation in Portland that apparently one of the women arrested last week in Portland was the former girlfriend of the leader of Antifa. That is a true statement.
See, bro, you know that they can get the right gender when they try. Because they're doing it right now in that press release,
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Rhett and I actually joked earlier today, like, should we just drive to Pioneer Square, set up a table, and start streaming? Like, should we just do the show? from the federal building? That'd be hilarious.
I mean, I'm in Portland every day. It's, it's a regular city and it's not that bad compared to other cities in the country. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are places in little old Salem that you might drive on through or skip, depending on
Yeah.
the time of day or whatever. So it's like every town's got them, man. I've never been more scared than when I'm in super rural places, though. So
Yeah. Rev says it's just a one-time girlfriend. You know they've got a polycule going.
oh yeah. Yeah. The kitchen table polycule.
Thank you for the correction, Rev. My apologies to
Yeah.
my apologies to the leader of Antifa. Thinking you could only pull one girlfriend.
Yeah, true. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
The 8-member polycule where they're all friends with each other and as opposed to the polycules where, you have some infighting from every now and again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The leader of Antifa keeps it strong for us. So,
Yeah, we live near Portland, but we shall endure.
oh yeah. We got a blocked comment. It says I loved the there it is. I loved the emergency nude bike ride to protest.
Yes, yeah. So this weekend, Portland will be holding an emergency naked bike ride.
Naked bike ride.
Yep.
So, guys, get out here if you want to see Jeff trolling through the streets on his Huffy.
Yeah. No. Screw that. I'll do my electric scooter.
Oh, there you go.
It's going to be a good show. We've got a little Synology news, little Intel news, little AMD news, and proof once again that RAID is not a backup.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. But first, let's go ahead and get this show started. What are we drinking tonight? What do you got on tap, sir?
I had to get into my rations because as you know, the supply lines are down. So all the way from buried in the garage, from Silver Falls Brewery is the Fairweather Friends West Coast IPA.
There you go.
If it'll focus. Yeah, look at that. He's fishing in a boat. And I've had these a couple times, and I wouldn't say that they're anything necessarily special, but they're solid. They describe it as a classic approach to the West Coast style IPA with a touch of modern day brewing techniques. Golden and copper in color with a nice clear appearance. Brewed with Cascade, Chinook, and Centennial hops.
I am very fond of Silver Falls Brewing. My favorite from them is probably just for the name. It's probably the Great Emu War of 1932. I think I've had one on the show, a couple of times. So
they got some good ones. The Great Emu War is not one that has been around in a while.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it'll come back. But of their classics, my go-to is the Ranger Red, which is really good.
Oh yeah.
Then they're probably most famous for their Oregon Sunshine, which is a hazy IPA that's really good.
Yes, yeah. That's actually the one that turned me on to them quite a few years ago. That's a good looking brew.
Nice and clear.
Yeah.
Very malty for a IPA.
Yeah.
I was expecting something a little bit more opaque, but I mean, you could see my eyeball right through that thing if you tried.
It is a nice looking beer. I've got one from our neighbors to the north in Washington. This is from Mount Olympus Brewing. It is the Come As You Are Fresh Hop Hazy IPA. Welcome to Aberdeen is the sign on the front.
I've been on a Nirvana kick today, so this is serendipitous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wonder who their inspiration for this one was. 6 point something percent. 6.3? 6.5. 6.5%.
Anybody who needs a fresh kick in the pants, you like heavy music, and you like Nirvana, go check out the band Thou. They have a cover CD called Blessings of the Highest Order. It's all Nirvana covers.
This one's a
And
bit of a heavy pour, or a bit of a hot
interesting.
bit of a hot can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not foaming anymore, but that's just, I mean, there's this much beer in this right now.
Yeah, seriously.
Man. I think this will pour just fine. Oh, wait. Now it's going.
Interesting.
Give me about 10 seconds here.
John pour. Now, I'm really sick, if you guys can hear it in my voice. It's like the worst sore throat I've had in a while. But
it smells fine. Usually when beers do this, it's one of two things. One, there was just a little bit too much CO2 in the canning, and I think that's what we're dealing with here. Because I poured out that little bit and poured that much, and as soon as it hits my nucleated pint glass, it just goes freaking nuts.
It wants to.
Yeah.
I'm drinking out of one too.
There you go.
Can't see, but
yeah. So I think we're just dealing with a bit of a heavy carbonation. The other thing that can happen is you can get an infected beer, and that's when they ferment too much in the can, or bacteria grows or whatever else, and that's when cans explode. I don't think that's what we're dealing with here, because it doesn't smell off. So I think we're just going to soldier through and try to get this beer head down a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, I was just telling everybody that I'm not feeling the best. My throat's a little scratchy, and this beer does not feel the best on it. You know, sometimes you have one of those beers, it's just like, it hits the spot when you're feeling a certain way. But this one doesn't quite, so we'll see.
Yeah. I will say, I've been feeling a little off the last couple of days, too. I don't know what it is. Like I said, yesterday, I couldn't string two sentences together trying to read a teleprompter that's right in front of me. Of course, the 12% beer that I was drinking at the time probably didn't help that. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get through this show, because I obviously still can't talk very well today. I just don't know what it is.
We're gonna do fun.
Well, yeah, this is
gonna be great.
This is gonna be a great show. I'm really selling it, aren't I?
You know, it's war torn out there, Jeff. It's okay to be a little off your game.
That's right. Old Poi chimes in early on, says, I'm on coffee and cookies tonight. Skull says, hey everyone, coffee and cookies sounds great right now. I'll be right back. And I think you guys might have been beating me to the punch on what my second beer for the night is going to be. I'll go ahead and share that now in case anyone wants to join me in a big one later on. So this is from Treehouse Brewing, up in Massachusetts.
Always the best art.
This is the Coffee Truth. Specifically the 2023 Winter Coffee Truth. It's a barrel-aged imperial stout. 14%, I think. So it's a big one. But listen to this. Coffee Truth is a bourbon barrel-aged stout conditioned on house-roasted monochrome coffee concentrate. After spending 24 plus months in bourbon barrels, Coffee Truth is conditioned upon careful dose of coffee to import flavor and texture of bourbon-soaked candy and milk chocolate. The marriage of attuned endeavors at Treehouse Coffee Truth is a barrel-aged stout to savor and celebrate. Much like you, I've been kind of going through my fridge and going, hey, what's in here? Like, you know, it's been a couple years since some of these have seen the light of day. I saw that one and I went, that's just singing to me tonight. So, Treehouse Brewing, Coffee Truth. If anyone's got anything similar, we'll be probably opening that up in about 45 minutes or so. Vince chiming in with another $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Circuit Rewind. Ep.403 forbidden. I can tell the Mariners are doing well because Vince is sending me a lot of money. So Vince is like in a, yeah, we're going to the World Series, baby. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what's been going on. But always appreciated. And of course, if you want to know where all of my error codes come from, check out craftcomputing.store for one of our hand or designed in-house and laser engraved in-house minimalist wallets. I actually don't have my wallet here on the desk with me, but trust me, they're pretty cool. Here we go. We'll just open the store.
He says Mariners sucked ass today.
They did suck ass today. Yeah, they lost, what, 9-3? Yeah, they got their asses handed to them by Detroit. So,
yeah.
Also, my Bad Mother Flipper wallet. I asked the question, what if Maurice Moss was in Pulp Fiction? And this is what I came up with. So we've got the Bad Mother Flipper. We've also got a whole bunch of HTTP error messages, status codes that, strangely enough, all fit being printed on a wallet.
Yeah.
I also got the pin numbers, pin 1234. But we've got no content, C proxy, payment required, money not found, not acceptable, 410 gone, payload too large, of course 418 tip me over and pour me out. Locked, failed dependency, upgrade required, too many requests, unavailable for legal reasons. You can find those and more at craftcomputing.store.
Oh, dang. Forgot Novella Hub was a mod now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Novella Hub's a recent add to the mod team, joining other mods on the channel. We've got Rev, we've got Skull, we've got Funky Monk. So, yeah.
Claw.
Happy to have him aboard. Claw, yes. Oh, and I think, Yakto's a mod on there now, too.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't remember if I added him to the YouTubes or not. But yeah, he's on there as well. Cool. All right. Now that I have my coffee, I'm ready to watch Radar. Where is it? Starting off with some Synology news. We talked about this a little while back. That Synology is in hot water with a number of enterprising small businesses, large businesses, home lab users, and such. Look, small vendor-tied systems like Synology, where you go, I don't need to host a bunch of services. I don't need to do all this. Or maybe I just want simple point-and-click interfaces to be able to set up my NAS. I don't want to manage it. I just want to buy something and plug in my hard drives and go. Look, Synology certainly has their place, especially in the small NAS market. I see Synology so often, years ago when I did, dentist's offices and real estate offices. They're like, yeah, we just need something to host all of our files here. And this is what was recommended, and this was easy to set up. Cool. But they irritated a lot of people a couple of months ago because they announced that starting with a new series of their Synology devices, they would be vendor tying hard drives to them. You had to install Synology branded hard drives.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, they were going to retroactively make that change on devices that you had already purchased. And so while your old hard drives that you had already installed would still work, if a drive failed, you'd have to go buy a Synology disk to replace it with. That's a problem. Number two, Synology doesn't make hard drives. So all they'd be doing is putting a white label onto a Seagate or a Western Digital or whoever, basically buying as cheap as they possibly could of a drive to slap their label on it and sell it at inflated prices. It was a lose for consumers. It was a lose for everyone all around. And just overall a very stupid decision. Happy to say that I was aware of this about a month ago or so, but I didn't want to spill the beans. But as of update 7.3 for Disk Station Manager, they will be rolling back that decision. They are no longer requiring vendor tie-ins. You don't have to buy Synology drives if you don't want to anymore. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people who they already burned, though. And in fact, a couple of people have already been chiming in. Jason chimes in, I sold all my Synologies and went full TrueNAS. Yeah, a lot of people did. Because...
yeah, the damage is done.
The damage is done. One thing I can't overstate, and I talk to a lot of companies, and Rett, we've been having conversations lately about, who buys products like this. Sometimes the people who buy products like this are, like I said, the people who just want to put something on their desk and plug in some hard drives and have it store things, or it needs to be point and click, or whatever the case may be. Do you know who recommends people buy these things? People like us. People who are paying attention. People who, as soon as they hear a sniff of vendor lock-in or anti-consumer practice, they'll go, I'll never recommend a Synology devices again. Because...
well, and how many like small business owners do you know that like buy something like that without even consulting a friend or somebody, an associate who knows more than they do?
Right.
Anybody who's paying attention can be like, well, you don't want to do that now because they're locking you into this whole thing. And even if it would never be a problem to that specific user, they're being advised, they're being informed by the people that are paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Synology couldn't roll this back fast enough. I mean, it's just...
yeah. It was a terribly thought out decision as far as what the ramifications for their business would be. I guess their sales are down quite a bit because people stopped buying Synology devices, because we don't tolerate that kind of BS, especially when you've already been open, especially when were already a BYOD platform. You can't retroactively change the agreement or change your use cases or only accept some devices after we've already bought them. I mean, we get into these arguments all the time about who really owns the devices after we purchase them. We get into this argument about cars and about phones and things like that. About, it's my device. I should be able to install whatever I want on it. It's my NAS. I should be able to put whatever hard drives I want in it. Turns out people don't like being potentially taken advantage of, or certainly not having the rules changed after the purchase has been made. So I will give Synology credit for hearing the feedback and rolling this back, because so often decisions like this are shareholder driven, and they're like, how can we maximize profits? I know, we'll vendor lock people into a subscription model or to a single vendor tie-in where they have to buy from us. The customers who buy from us have no choice but to give us more money now. So kudos to whoever in Synology pushed this through and said, no, this is a terrible decision. We need to not do this.
So how long until the next blunder?
Great question. The year is young. There's always time to screw things up.
That's my motto.
Always time. Rev says his beer was so good, I accidentally the whole beer already. What were you drinking, Rev? I didn't see your check-in here. Oh, there it is. Cracking into a Green Rush Fresh Hop IPA from Balebreaker and Russian River collab, 6.9%.
Ooh, I've had that before.
I have as well. That is a good one. 4.19 on Untapped. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, Russian River has had some that I've had on the show before, and then Bale Breaker's local to us. They're
Yeah.
really good.
Yep.
Bale Breaker's known for their gluten-free beers.
Yes. In fact, was it Bailbreaker? No, it wasn't Bailbreaker. I had a Evasion Brewing. That's the one that I had. I had a gluten-free IPA on the show just a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And really solid. Like my review of it was, hey, this is an IPA. But you know what's really cool? It's an IPA. Like, there was no tell that it was a gluten-free beer, and that's been a really hard thing for so long, because you can't put any wheat, barley, or rye products into a beverage that basically requires wheat, barley, and rye to get the flavor profile right. You swap it out for another grain, it's very obvious. And the best praise that you can give for a gluten-free beer is, wow, this tastes like a beer. Did we lose you? No, we're not dropping frames, but we might have just lost Rett. Okay. Yeah, I'm still streaming, so okay. Interesting. Rett is out. Cool. All right. The interesting thing is I don't have my single frame logo here. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Internet in the whole house dropped for some reason.
Yay. All right.
It's the Antifa super soldiers, and they're isolating my location, apparently.
Knew we shouldn't have talked about that at the start of the show.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway,
hey,
pardon
Veronica's in
me,
chat.
everyone.
Veronica's in chat. Hello, Veronica. Good to see you as always. Zeus sends over $5. Thank you so much, Zeus. The Canadians made me get a Tofino Brewing Kelp Stout. British Columbia has some wild beers. Yes, they do. I've had a Kelp Stout. I have had an Oyster Stout. Oyster Stouts are freaking delicious. Trying to think of what else. We've talked about some really weird beers on the show. I didn't get to experience this one, but I know John has, where it was yeast cultivated from your beard.
Yeah.
That
was that was the Rogue Brewery.
Yeah.
Guy did that.
Yeah.
He what was that called? It was called like, it had a name that was great for it. Like, you're like, oh, that's the beard yeast beer for sure.
It's the Rogue Beard Beer.
Beard beer. I'm an idiot.
and yeah, it was made from the brewmaster's yeast strain that they collected from his beard.
You know, I don't remember which podcast it was, but anybody interested, there was a podcast with that brewmaster, and he talked all about the science of brewing and how he kind of came at it sideways with like a master's degree in like food science or something like that. He like never intended to become a brewer, but started working for Rogue and just kind of fell into it, and kind of helped carry them to where they are today. Really interesting podcast. And that's where I heard about the beard beer and wild yeast. I mean, I think I came to Talking Heads. I was talking to John about it, and he was telling me all about wild yeast beers. And apparently I froze in a funny expression because everybody...
You did. You kind of froze like this. Or like you were like...
itching my eye.
Yeah, you were itching your eye, but your eyes were closed.
I closed my eyes and I like looked up and everything was gone. I was like, what the?
Yeah, your eyes were closed and you had your hand on the side of your head. And I thought you would froze in like migraine pose. Because I recognize that. That's like your arms stiffening when you get a concussion. It's like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
He's relieving pressure on the ocular nerve.
Yeah. Nope, turns out your internet just went down, which would cause a migraine in me. So, that's...
Thanks, Wave.
Veronica says, I could imagine Synology moving forward with a supported drives structure, the way enterprise Dell contracts work, but this was just pathetic. Yeah, and it's one thing to only support first-party vetted drives if you have like some support structure or warranty or service contract. But it's another thing to completely tie off to a vendor lock-in. I mean, gosh, when I deployed servers, we were typically an HP house, but we would buy our drives third party through various vendors. We would buy Seagate or Western Digital or whatever else, and we would just install those drives into HP servers. What that means is HP can't warranty the drives, but guess what? The drives come with 5-year warranties anyway, and we can buy extras to have on as cold spares. And so it was okay, depending on the part that failed, you just need to contact whatever company. Obviously, I'm not going to call HP because my Western Digital drive died in their server. But I also didn't expect that from them. So, yeah, there is something to be said about... Rett looked big mad about Synology.
I'm always big mad about Synology, so...
Yeah. So yeah, it's one thing to tie your support into only supporting certain hardware or vetted hardware. I get that. But this was not that case. Good old HGST spinning Rust. That's mostly what I still run in my home servers here. I've got 2 complete servers with nothing but HGST used SAS drives. And then I do have one newer array of 18 terabyte Seagates. And actually, I've been looking at starting to upgrade those because some of the 6 terabyte drives that I've been running, I think are original to one of the first rack mount NASs that I built here on the server, and that was 2019. So those drives were used when I bought them, and they've been running for an additional 6 years now.
So they're good drives. They got the Craft Computing seal of approval.
Yeah. I mean, they've lasted this long. They've lasted not only a move from one house to the other. They've migrated racks a couple of times, and I know they've migrated servers a couple of times because at one point they were in a Roseville 4U rack mount chassis, and then they got moved to my Storinator, and I think right now they're in my backup server, my AV15. So they have gone from full enterprise deployment to a 4U Roseville in a StarTech 4U rack, or a 27U rack, just like the one that's behind me. Moved houses to get installed in that same rack out in my garage, to being installed into a 42U APC net shelter, to being moved to my AV15 Storinator, to being moved to my HL15 home lab box. That's pretty impressive.
Durable.
Yeah.
Durable.
6 terabyte are kin to 3 terabyte. I disagree. Most 3 terabyte drives have had a higher than average failure rate. And there's numerous factors that lean into that. Some of them are anecdotal. Some of them have been proven. 3 terabyte was the first run on a denser process from previous generation disks, because we had gotten 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte drives just fine, and there was also some 1.5s in there, but those were stupid. But 2 terabyte drives on, I think it was 4 platters, and so there were 250 gigs per platter. They moved up the process, or the density of the data on the disks, and the 3 terabytes were some of the first on that process. This also happened during the flooding and the earthquake, the flooding, and the fallout from Fukushima. And so there's also like anecdotal, hey, how much did... Probably not. It probably has nothing to do with that. And in fact, I can feel Kyle Hill's eyes on me right now, just mentioning the disaster. But drives are manufactured in Japan. And if not the nuclear fallout and issues, which there probably wasn't that much. Like, I know Kyle, stop boring holes in the back of my skull. But they're first run of a new process, environmental issues. Avoid SMR drives. Yes, avoid SMR drives, especially not necessarily for like single disk or even a dual disk storage. If you're doing just like a mirror, I still think that's fine. But if you have large arrays, if you have, large ZFS pools, think 6 to 8 disks. Yeah, SMR is... Not Fukushima, Thailand floods. 3 terabyte manufacturing, I believe, intertwined with both, actually. When was Fukushima?
2011.
Yeah.
March 11th, 2004. Wait, 2011, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only remember that because my brother got married a month later, and we were in Southern California, and they were like, "Caution, the radiation cloud from Fukushima is overhead." I was like, "What?" It's like, "What do we do? We're having an outdoor wedding."
Yeah.
Plus, here in America, we've got the infamous 9/11 date. In Japan, 3/11 is just as infamous to them for the same reason. Well, not terrorism, but
Right.
A lot more people died in Fukushima.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Rev says, think it was the same storm, but the floods damaged factories in Thailand. Yeah, there was a factory impact. I do remember that. So, yeah, lots of weird things happened around the 3 terabyte drives, and those have proven to be far less reliable than 2s and 4s that came on either side of them. So, like I said, some of it's anecdotal, some of it is based in things that actually happened, and based in drive failure rates. I have literal piles of 3 terabyte drives behind me because I thought they would be a really fun idea. Like, oh, if I'll just buy like 20 of them and I put them in like smaller clusters and whatnot, I can build like really large storage pools because the drives are like $10 each if you buy 20 of them at a time. Yeah, that was still stupid because I had them deployed for maybe about 6 months, and I think 5 of them failed in that time.
Wow.
Out of like 12 that I had deployed. I bought 20 of them, and I'm like, this is just untenable. This is not a sustainable rate.
Michael says the error rate was at like 40% at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 6 terabyte drives did not have that issue. And in fact, in the years that I've been running 6 terabyte drives, I don't think I've had a failure of a 6 terabyte drive. I've had one 8 fail. I've had one of my 18s fail. But
so buy 6 terabytes. Okay.
I wouldn't anymore. They're getting way too long in the tooth. 12s and 14s are the ones that are kind of the sweet spot as far as capacity on the used market. You can get 12 terabyte drives sometimes for as low as $85. So if you're buying new drives or buying used drives, ignore the 6s entirely. They're don't do it. And David says, yeah, 3.84 and 7.68 terabytes enterprise SAS SATA SSD or SAS SSDs are starting to hit the secondhand market in mass. Could be nice for flash NASs. Yes, I am aware of those. I've had my eye on many 7.68s because I have some plans that I need a lot of flash storage for. Yeah, 12 terabytes are the new 10 terabytes. Yes. Yeah, 12 is the real sweet spot. Lots of people agree with me. Yeah, 12 is kind of the sweet spot.
Jeff, it sounds like you agree with lots of people. Don't take this away from me.
This is my show, okay?
Jeff always just happens to have the numbers on his side.
What can I say? I didn't tune into your show and tell you about hard drive capacities. But what can I say? I also have a very educated audience, and I'm glad that, I'm glad that they agree with me.
I just want them to have the pleasure of being right, you know?
They are right because they agreed with me.
No, they are right, and they agree with you.
Those don't have to be mutually exclusive. And as David says, who could argue with a man holding a beverage that cloudy? See? So how was your beverage treating you?
Mine's good. You know, it's a West Coast style IPA, and I gotta admit, like, I'm a little surprised at how malty it is. I mean, look at it; it almost looks red in the light. You know,
yeah.
And for that, it's good. I love malty. I was in the mood for hoppier, but it's growing on me. I think this is more of a hot day, fast drinking beer than anything, but
nice. Yeah. I'm
nursing it, and it's growing on me actually as it opens up a little bit. When it was cold, I was telling people when you stepped away that, it was a little, I don't think I said it was tasteless, but that's kind of what I was circling around. But as it's warming up, it's opening up a little bit more.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It also does not help. My taste buds are definitely compromised right now. So.
Yeah. Your voice is notably like a half step lower than it was yesterday.
Yeah, I felt great last night when we were chatting, and then got off the phone, crawled in bed, and by an hour went by, I had to take some Advil.
Yeah,
like my throat was just killing me, like literally that fast.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can't blame the scotch, so.
Of course not. That probably held you out that long.
That's probably what staved off the infection. Yeah. I have to write a letter to Lefroy. Thank you for your medicinal products.
I'd be dead if not for you.
The aqua vitae, the water of life.
This one, from a hazy perspective, very, very hop forward, but very, very citrusy. Leads with like pineapple.
Yeah, it looks citrusy.
Yeah,
like, I feel like I can smell it.
I wouldn't be surprised. You want me to hold it a little closer to the microphone here?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Very, very pineapple juice-esque. Part of that is your brain tricking you into going, what in the ever-loving hell fruit is that citrusy? Oh, that's got to be pineapple. Like it's just that
right
intense sour bitter flavor that my brain is equating to pineapple. But yeah, it's good. It is one that this much is too much.
Right.
Like
okay.
Towards the end of this, there's a little burn that's just kind of biting at me. I think 8 ounces would have been great of this. It's not like the old school hazies where 2 to 4 ounces and you're just done.
There's got to be a Nirvana metaphor in there somewhere. Come as you are. Right, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't smell like Teen Spirit.
No, it doesn't have a gun. Is it soaked in bleach or is it sept in bleach, Jeff? Can you tell?
I don't know, but I think David Grohl's going to do great things at the next brewery. Terrapup says, evening, gotta love working for free. Never work for free. Don't do that. And if your employer's making you work for free, don't.
Send him this video. We'll yell at them.
Yeah, I'll yell at him. You've been around long enough. I'll take your back on this one. Terrapup should not be working for free. Should be money for nothing and chicks for free. All right. I think that's enough of that IPA.
Is it chicks for free? I thought it was tricks for free.
Is it?
I'm sorry, I could not let that one go. I was like, yo, is that not the lyric?
Chicks for free.
Oh, damn.
Don't.
I'm not challenging you. I was asking you. I was having my third eye opened there.
Yeah, no, it's chicks for free. You had me questioning my Dire Straits fandom, and I was really upset for a second.
I only like 2 Dire Straits songs. It's that one and Sultans of Swing.
Sultans of Swing. That's, yeah.
He wrote Sultans of Swing, but he always, before he got his iconic red Fender Stratocaster, he only played an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And the song just didn't have the right vibe. And then he finally bought this electric guitar, and it changed the way the song sounded. And suddenly it became what you hear on the radio when it comes on, which is just such a licky, groovy song,
It seriously, I mean, one of the greatest all-time guitar songs. I mean, just the initial groove that it sets up, effortless, catchy, just fantastic. And then the solos that kind of intertwine throughout the whole thing. It's just so freaking good. Veronica says those are the two. Those are the 2 Dire Straits songs.
Old Poi owns every album they made on vinyl. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
We got a new vinyl store in Salem, Jeff, if you ever want to go check it out. It's called Drum Bug, and it's downtown. It's downtown in like the Pringle Plaza area.
Okay.
Where like that Geppetto's Italian, by where Marco Polo is.
Yeah, all right.
It's a drum store, but they got vinyl. It's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. They also got old tapes and CDs and stuff. It's groovy.
Yeah. I will counter. There's a third Dire Straits song, and that's "Once Upon a Time in the West."
I don't even know how it goes.
I like that one.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sing it.
Once upon a time in the West. Seriously, that's like half the song.
I don't doubt that they've got other good ones. Those are just. What's funny is I could tell you all about the guitar player and his the way he developed his style and all this. I know 2 Dire Straits songs.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Down by the Waterside. That's a good one. I do like that one. But I have finished my beer, so I think it's time to treat myself. So this is the Treehouse Brewing Coffee Truth 2023 with a wax top on it. So let's...
While you're cutting that wax top,
yeah.
You know who Ron Funches is, right?
Oh, yeah. Legendary Portland comedian.
He's coming to Salem.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean, he lives in Portland.
Well, you know, he's also, like, he's from Salem. Like, he graduated from McKay High School.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he live in Portland? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he started his stand-up career in Portland.
Yeah. You know, he was doing open mics in Salem when they had a club early on in the day and started moving to Portland really quickly when he realized the market wasn't here in Salem.
Yeah.
And then obviously blew up and like went down to LA and
Yep.
Anyway, he's at the Grand Theater in December.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I do have Gianmarco Cerezi tickets in December. We're going down to Eugene to see him. He's doing 4 nights in Eugene.
Where's he playing?
He's playing at some comedy bar. It's not the Holt. Shoot. No, he's doing like a little 50-person venue.
A small thing.
Yeah, he's doing like a small like bar table kind of setup. So yeah, we've got I think there's 60 seats in the whole place. And I've got a couple of tickets. So yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, gonna go see Gianmarco. We did see Taylor Tomlinson a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that kept showing up on my calendar. I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, it's Craft Computing sent for this. Shared this with me." Like he just wanted to brag the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that was that day you guys were eating downtown.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
How does it smell? Wow. Literally looks like I pulled my oil cap off.
I mean, you did drive a Ford Focus for a while, so.
I did?
Or no, that was a Taurus, wasn't it?
No, it was a Focus.
Was it a Focus?
I say did because I still do drive it.
Well, if it looks like this, you haven't done it. You haven't changed your oil recently enough. Good Lord.
Man, that Focus has been the best car I've had.
I mean, I poured that a foot down and it developed no head. I was trying to pull something out of it.
No, there's no head in beers like that.
And it's fighting me the whole way, man. Oh my gosh.
That looks delicious.
So, the brightest light that I own, nothing.
Just lights up your face on camera.
Nothing. I'm getting more reflection than you're getting light through the beer. The only reason it's lighting up is the fiber optic effect of going around the glass.
Yeah.
That's insane.
You can't see a touch of it come through. That's impressive.
There's nothing.
Into the black hole it goes.
There's nothing. Oh, man.
Yo, you went after the wrong people, dude. Novella drives a Ford Focus, too.
Apparently, yeah. Normally, it's the Hyundai people that I piss off. It's the Hyundai Veloster that I piss off.
Of course. There was this like time period, like shortly after the Great Recession and shortly before algorithm driven internet traffic, where Ford was making like good cars, and the Focus was one of them. And then they put everything into trucks and they stopped.
Yeah.
So, but dude, I drove like 30,000 miles on that car last year, which like isn't a lot, but it's a lot for me, you know.
I mean,
it is a lot, but it is a lot of miles.
Right.
But it was
For almost 3 years, I was doing about 35,000 a year on a car. And I mean, if you extrapolate that out, I did 100,000 miles in 3 years. That's the lifespan of a car in 6 years. Technically like 4.5. Like, cars are pretty much designed to run for about 150,000 miles without like complete major reconstructive surgery.
Well, that's the crazy part is like this was like after I hit 120,000 miles, like car still running like a dream, and then I go and put 30,000 on it, and I'm not commuting. You know what I mean? This isn't commuter miles. This is like travel miles for work and stuff, and you know, I leave my house maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and pack on those miles. And I still haven't had any issues. You know what I mean? It's like I never. Yeah, I don't know. I'm lucky. Got the right one, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. Gosh, what cars did I drive when I was doing that much distance? I had bought a '95 Toyota Celica. That I bought right after I got this job. And I think I put 70,000 miles on that. And the only thing that happened to me is on the way home one day, the throwout bearing didn't want to throw out anymore. And I ended up punching a hole through the pressure plate, and blowing up the clutch. And it was great because you couldn't, it blew up. I'll just say exactly where it blew up. It blew up on the, Center Street Bridge.
Oh, that sucks.
I was coming down from highway speed, and I put my foot into the clutch, and I heard a clunk and a bang, and clutch doesn't work anymore. And so I could pull it out of gear, but I couldn't put it back into a gear. Luckily, I do know how to like rev match, and I can power shift. And so I bang shifted for a while. But I'm entering downtown Salem in a one-way grid. I think when the clutch actually blew, I took the front street exit and managed to catch a green light at the next 2 lights, and then landed at that Exxon station down there on 12th. So I made it all the way through downtown and then off onto a gas station, which is the only gas station that exists downtown. But made it like 2 miles, just bumping between second and third. But had that all repaired and replaced and everything else, and got the car back up and running, and that was great. I then drove that car down to San Diego. And on the way back, it needed some oil, so I put a quart of oil in it in San Diego, and then I left the oil cap on top of the engine, and then I closed the hood, and then I drove for 14 hours all the way through California, without stopping. And the engine didn't seize until Grants Pass. I drove from San Diego, California to Grants Pass, Oregon.
The worst place to have your car stop.
The worst place to have your car break down. By the way, that was also on New Year's Eve. We were trying to make it back home in time to go to a New Year's Eve party with a bunch of friends. And we ended up getting stuck in Grants Pass, Oregon, overnight, which was fantastic. But put a new engine in that car. Because, like, dude, it's bulletproof. I just did 1,000 miles with no oil pressure. Like, I'm going to put another one of those in. That sounds way better than spending $700 a month on a new car. So I paid someone $3,000 to put I got a remanufactured engine from Japan with 30,000 miles on it. and slapped it in there. 3 months later, someone ran a stop sign on me, and I T-boned him doing 45. That was the end of that car. I was so mad.
I bet.
Yep. And I had to fight the insurance for like 6 months to even get the value of the engine back, because they're like, "Oh, it's a 95. Here's $2,000." And I'm like, "No, this has a brand new drivetrain from the axles forward. Like it's a brand new engine. It's a brand new clutch and pressure plate. It's everything is brand new except the transmission." And I even had new struts and springs and a couple of other things put in while I was in the shop. And that car was literally like built brand new.
You ever seen that movie, The Adjustment Bureau, with Matt Damon? And
I don't think I have, no.
It's like the one where there's like the people that wear the top hats and they can go through the doors and they stop people from, they control people's fate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They like, I don't know, you know, they like put a
inverse Minority Report.
Yeah, it's like they put a $5 bill on the sidewalk so you bend down right at the right time so that they keep you off the plane that leads to 9/11 or something. You know what I mean? It's like, and so this was you that you got the car was done for, and they're like, "We did it. We got that car off the road. It's done." And then you put a new engine, and they're like, "Ah, damn it! How did he sneak this one through? We got to work overtime." And
yeah.
They like cut the guy's brakes.
Yep.
So they could take care of your Toyota Celica.
Yep. No. So the car that I T-boned was a 2004, I think it was, Toyota Sienna minivan. And I hit him right behind the driver's side door. And when I hit him doing 45, it's a 2-lane road. And he pulled out right in front of me, and there wasn't even like time to brake. All there was like, well, this is it. And I actually remember like a glimpse of like Adam Savage rolling through my mind because of his underwater car myth, where he goes, calm people live, panic people die. And I just went, there's nothing I can do. And I remember exhaling and relaxing. I don't know why. That was just like, okay, I'm gonna hit someone. I hit him, and I remember seeing sky for a while.
Oof.
So I hit him and lifted, and I managed to land back down in my lane, and then kind of like skidded sideways. But there was also 45-mile-an-hour traffic coming straight at me, but I stayed like true in my lane. Awesome. I didn't careen into someone else. I didn't, but I remember snapping to and going, "Mother," and just yelling. And then I looked and I see where I hit him, and it was right behind the driver's side door. And I went, "Oh my God, I think I might have just killed someone." Like no one lives from those kind of wrecks. Right, and yeah. So I kind of did a quick, all right, extremities work, toes are bending, cool, okay. So I jumped up out of the car, and I went over to his driver's side door, and it's a guy driving with 5 kids in the back of the minivan. And I went, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Am I okay? Are you okay?" And I went, "Yeah, I think is everyone all right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he kind of looks behind, and I see all the kids like, "Yeah, okay, we're okay." And then I went, "Mother," and I yelled again. But then I realized like how bad the crash was, because a bunch of people ran over to me and like grabbed me, and they're like, "You need to go sit down." And they're like, taking me over to the curb and whatnot, because they're like, "You're on adrenaline right now. Like, you're probably going to hurt." And luckily I didn't have any broken bones. I didn't have anything like that, but yeah, it hit my car so bad. Like I said, I saw sky for a while. It broke the engine completely loose of every engine mount that's in the car. It drugged the engine and transmission, so it's a front wheel drive car. It broke it. I think it broke the right side axle. It broke the engine mounts loose, and then dropped the engine onto the pavement, and then skidded it across. And so the whole engine and transmission is just like hanging out of the bottom of the car. Just completely destroyed it.
So whoever installed it didn't do a good job, man.
Right. Like that was supposed to stay in there, man. But I mean, Toyota on Toyota impact, everyone walked away from that. Like, I did end up having to go to physical therapy for a while and whatnot. Like it did mess up a bunch of my muscles and things. And in fact, I still have some back pain from that accident.
But when it came time to pick what you put your own kids in, you get the Toyota Sienna.
We got a Toyota Sienna, yeah.
No wonder. It's a no-brainer after that.
Right. And Novelis has the Toyota Sienna Hybrid. Yeah, we have a 2022 Toyota Sienna Hybrid. And yeah, no question I'd buy one again. No question I'd buy a Celica again. No question I'd buy, any car that's based on. Because I hit something square on at 45 miles an hour and walked away. So, let's see. Besides, this is supposed to be the coffee truth. I'm smelling more bourbon than coffee, and that's irritating me.
That's, I'll tell you, my issue with bourbon barrel-aged beers is that the bourbon barrel age overpowers every other note.
Yeah. And
not that it's not good. It's just that when you're expecting coffee, you're expecting chocolate, or you're expecting something else. Like, what did I have recently that's bourbon barrel aged? I was like, that's all there is. And it's good, but when you wanted something... And I'll let you describe the beer. I haven't even tasted it, so... but
yeah. I mean, this is a 2-year aged, in addition to the 24 months it spent on bourbon barrels, in addition to the time that it aged on bourbon soaked candy and milk chocolate. There's not a lot of coffee in here. That bourbon barrel aged stout flavor. That sour mash meets rich barley kind of flavor, toasted barley. That's what this is. It's entirely bourbon up front. It's almost sickly sweet.
And that's the other thing with the bourbon barrel aged thing, is that it is always sweeter. Like, you get that, like, it's almost like molassesy.
Yes.
Sometimes. And it's overpowers every other thing in the beer.
Yeah, this is molasses and dark chocolate.
Yeah.
And if you kind of like this much longer after I've drank it, if I kind of like scrape my tongue a little bit, I get like essence of coffee. But beyond that, the coffee's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've become a little bit of a, I wouldn't say like a snob or anything, but just like in my sort of like light-weightedness anymore, I've lost my palate for those types of beers, and I think and when I taste one, I'm thinking back to the old days when I would drink these all the time, and they never quite live up to my mental image of what they were. And I wonder if that means like the beers themselves are changing, if they're chasing a trend that I simply don't have the palate for, or what's going on with them. Because they never quite, and Treehouse, in my opinion, one of the GOATs. Like, Treehouse doesn't miss. Yeah, and Novella's calling it, right? Like, I'm Mr. Rainier, so it's not like I have the most refined palate anymore. But, like, I've drank a lot of craft beer,
Yeah.
and I feel like when I'm buying something like that, it has a waxed up seal, like
Hmm.
I'm gonna want that complexity. I'm gonna want something that's challenging,
Yeah.
and I want it to be a little bit more than like the one trick pony.
Yeah.
Um, and I haven't had this beer. I don't know how it is, honestly. Maybe I would drink it and be
Um,
like, "What do you mean you don't like it?" But
honestly, don't get me wrong. This is a good beer. It tastes good. The flavors that should be there are there in some capacity, although the coffee is very, very weak. Um, if you've had a bourbon barrel aged stout, that is just a straight up stout, not the pirate stout, not like a tiramisu, not a weird
right.
flavored stout. You've had this beer. The flavor profile of this is almost identical to the standard bourbon barrel aged stout that you get from Rogue, that you get from Bourbon County, that you get from any other number of standard barrel aged stout. This is our stout. This is the beer.
Yeah.
And it's a bit unfortunate. Like I was really wanting like a real bold coffee flavor, and it's just not there. It's good, but it's really sickly sweet, and I've had this exact same flavor profile a dozen times already, and I'm a little let down.
A lot of people in chat too, they're saying, well, tastes and palates change. You always got to try something new. Well, we are always trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
Old Poi says some beers need to be drank with the right food to activate the palate.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. It doesn't quite, I think, account for what we're talking about, though.
Yeah.
Um,
like I love going to restaurants, and I have a couple of beer flavors that I like to get specifically at restaurants. And that is, if I go to San Am, I love getting their Maibach.
Yeah, so good.
If I go to a Rogue Public House, I love getting their Kolsch. And that's because those particular beers pair very well with meats and fried food and starch and all kinds of things. My all-time favorite meal, one of my all-time favorite meals, is going to San Am and having their 1859 Maibach and their giant platter of fish and chips. And letting those just pair off each other and play off each other. It's a dance recital on your tongue. It's freaking amazing. When I go to Rogue, I love getting the Kolsch, and I've done the fish and chips there before, but they have some amazing sliders.
Gotta eat their Kobe beef, bro.
Yeah, the Kobe beef. You get their they've done like beer pretzels before. Those are amazing just to get as like a little finger food. I get the beer pairing thing. A bourbon barrel-aged 14% stout is a dessert beer and should stand on its own. And this one, my overwhelming review is, it's like every other bourbon barrel-aged stout that I've ever had. And this one's not even all that roasty. Like,
and I'll ask you this. Here's an interesting philosophical question about this.
Yeah.
You say it's just like every other barrel-aged, bourbon barrel-aged stout I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that Treehouse shouldn't have made it, or is it like more power to him because if I'm going to have one, I want one from my brewery of choice, right?
I mean, look, it's still a good beer. And your seventh Rolex is still a Rolex, right? Like, but we're getting into some esoterica here that owners of Rolexes will start to compare and contrast other Rolexes and go, no, this one has the Submariner drive that does blah, 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 blah. And there is something to that. Like, yeah.
Well, this one has a square face and this one has a round face.
Right.
This one has a diamond at the top. This one has a diamond at the bottom.
Yeah. This one has a diamond inset in the crown. Yeah.
Mmm.
Ooh. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I'm reading the back of this and I'm going 24 months in bourbon barrels, conditioned and specifically infused with textures of bourbon-soaked candy and milk chocolate, and then a marriage of attuned endeavors at Treehouse. Coffee Truth is the barrel-aged... It's a bourbon barrel-aged beer with very little coffee. Like,
What is barrel-soaked candy or bourbon-soaked candy? Like, we talking butterscotch, or are we talking peppermint patties?
I think they're talking more like butterscotch.
Or are we talking Skittles? You know what I mean?
We're
Like
talking
Mike and
playoffs.
Yeah, good and plenty, baby. Let's go.
We talking about practice. Yeah, maybe they should have only done 6 months in the barrel. I think
Well,
there's
that's
something
what
to
some
that.
people were saying. Some people were asking about that. Like, well, should they have just finished it in the barrel, or should they have started it only in the barrel? Like, my question is, what, can you age a beer in a barrel without it having been a bourbon barrel,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And are bourbon barrels always fresh barrels, or do they use...
Aha. Ooh, now we're getting into some fun stuff. Bourbon in the U.S. Bourbon is a U.S. whiskey. Okay?
In Kentucky?
No.
No, it is.
Doesn't have to be made in Kentucky. Bourbon can be made anywhere. That was an old rule. That's like Champagne, France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling bullshit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You can buy Prosecco now, okay?
Right.
Just like you can buy your Canadian bullshit.
Right.
Just kidding. I like Canadian whiskey.
Bourbon in the U.S. has to be 51% or more corn in the mash. Has to be 51% or higher corn in the grain bill. And has to be aged for a minimum of 2 years in new American oak. It cannot be a used barrel. It has to be a brand new, charred American oak barrel. That is the rule for bourbon. What's really fun is Scotch. Scotch cannot be aged in a new barrel. Scotch has to be aged in a used charred barrel.
Yeah.
So what happens? A lot of American companies will build brand new American oak barrels, and they will age bourbon in them for 2, 3, 7, 12, 17 years. And then they will sell those now used barrels to Scotland to age Scotch. Or they will sell them off to beer companies so they can age their beers in bourbon barrels.
So bourbon barrels are always just used once before they go on to the next.
Correct, because a bourbon cannot be aged in a used barrel. And once you've aged a bourbon in a barrel, you can't use that barrel again to age bourbon. You can use it to age other whiskeys. You could use it to age beer. You could use it to age wine. You could use it to age anything you want because it's just a barrel at that point. But yeah, a lot of Scotch is aged in used bourbon barrels. A lot. Wine is also aged in non-charred barrels. And depending on the variety of wine or the winemaker, it could be new or used. There's no real standard for that. But I'm sure you've seen port finished beers before, or port finished whiskeys. Those are whiskeys or bourbons that are aged in new American oak that are then taken out of those barrels and put into port barrels and aged for another 3, 4, 5, 6 months. and let them absorb the tannins and the wine flavor, as well as that uncharred oak flavor. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Have you ever tried to add wood to your own
Wood staves?
spirit? Yeah, or anything
Yes.
like that?
Yes, I have.
It is surprising how quickly that can change the flavor or
Yes.
really punch it up. Yeah, and I think I always wonder that when I'm drinking these bourbon barrel-aged beers. I'm like, well, like, did they just not know how fast this would act, you know? You
Um,
gotta wonder, like, after aging it for bourbon and it's charred, like, how much are they really getting? But like, it, you're getting something.
you're getting something.
'Cause-
But when you have an 80-gallon barrel and it's charred, you get a lot of that char right away. But there is some oak that will seep through it, and the char is actually to prevent it from aging too quickly. That's why wine can be aged for a year, and then put into its production, and then you can reuse the same barrels for many different runs.
Right.
Is fresh wood absorbs flavor much more quickly than used wood does. And charred wood, you get that char flavor, but it's actually holding back a lot of the wood components of it.
Right.
One thing you will learn with trying to use like oak staves, like charred oak staves, is you can't fool time. And while you might have a very large surface area, if you add wood staves into a whiskey bottle, you will get a lot of the sharper, sour flavors that come out of that as well. Not the real rich, it's not going to smooth the whiskey out. It's going to add more oak to it, which also includes some of those sour, sharp flavors. That's actually what we're trying to avoid by aging it longer. You can't fool time. And if someone figures out how to fool time...
What blows my mind too is I've taken unaged like white whiskey, for example. Like take like White Trace, for example.
Mhm.
Is that unaged? Either way, I don't think it's. But regardless, you take a white whiskey
Yeah.
or even a vodka. You do this, doesn't matter. Something clear,
Same thing.
and you put oak staves. Yeah,
Yeah.
put oak staves in it, and it blows my mind how fast.
In just a
That
couple of days,
becomes
it turns
a
yellow,
colored.
and in like 3
Yeah,
weeks, it turns like a dark maple. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Blows my mind.
Yeah. If someone figures out how to fool time, if someone figures out how to speed up that back and forth process of whiskey or wine interacting with a barrel, and speed up the process of that chemical reaction and interfusing of ingredients that takes place, I'm not even just gonna say like bestseller for the next year. I'm thinking like Nobel Peace Prize level awards.
I don't know, man. That's like some AI tech bro talk there. You want to take the time out of whiskey, bro? Well, you may as well take the feathers off an angel. Okay? Some good things need to rest. Okay, Jeff?
Well, was the angel here illegally? Because
Oh, God. It's time to go back from whence you came.
sorry. uh Novella Hub chimes in, beer number 4.
Ooh,
Uh,
Bella Hub.
Evil Twin Imperial Biscotti Break Coffee Stout, 11.5%, 4.08 on Untapped. Yeah, everyone's cracking open their stouts now. So jealous. Yeah.
If anybody needs some solidarity of not opening a stout, I'm gonna open my next drink. It's a Gatorade Zero in a
There you
small
go.
bottle. It's glacier cherry flavor.
That is the superior of the Gatorade flavors.
I'm a big fan of yellow.
Uh, I like the not the cool blue, but what's the other blue flavor?
Glacier blue.
Glacier
Glacier.
Yeah.
Glacier berry. Or
It's the
like
slightly lighter color blue. Yeah. That is usually my go-to.
All the lighter colors seem to be like a variant of the word glacier.
Yeah. So I do buy the bulk powder. I buy the giant containers of powdered Gatorade. The fruit punch and the glacier blue are really good. The glacier cherry is freaking hot garbage. You can taste every bit of artificial sweetener that's in it, and it's horrible.
That's what I want. I want to know I'm drinking something out of a lab.
It literally tastes like plastic. It literally tastes like Gatorade that's been sitting in a plastic Gatorade bottle for about 9 months. It tastes like... I thought there was something wrong with my bottle when I poured it in there. And I'm like, this tastes like ABS. This tastes like all the Pet G. And
the good stuff.
And so I like dumped the whole bottle out, and then I'm like, no, the whole container smells, but I had just gotten like a new pitcher, and so I dumped the whole pitcher out, and I'm like, well, maybe I just need to wash this a couple times. So I put it through the dishwasher a couple times. I made more glacier cherry, same exact flavor came through. I made some fruit punch. I made some glacier blue. It was fantastic. I put glacier cherry back in it. Same plastic flavor came right back. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
Can't trust that flavor again.
Yep. Nope. Can't do it in powdered form. It is the most vile thing ever. And Skull's chiming in. 2024 Bourbon County Stout, Proprietor Stout, OMFG, hitting that bourbon note, but so many more flavors. Yeah, again, this is good. This is really good. If you're a fan of bourbon barrel-aged beers, this is like bourbon floating on a cloud. But if you come in with the name Coffee Truth and you really lean into the coffee, and then I taste 1% Starbucks coffee at the back end, I'm a little let down. I spent $7,000 on a Rolex, and I need to wind to this thing myself? What the hell? Like... Could have been so much better.
I would never wind a Rolex myself, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I got a guy for that.
Well, you know what? If they want to send me some other watches to review, I'd be happy to do so. So...
Welcome to clock computing.
We could still call it craft.
Welcome to craft clocking. Nailed it.
Clockwork computing?
Clockwork computing is pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's why I name the things around here.
Oh, you get one or two every 8 years, and suddenly Mr. Hotshot.
That's really all it takes. Moving right along, since we've managed to cover one story in the first 90 minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
Nvidia and Intel. Obviously, there's been some talk about Nvidia buying 5% of Intel. I've had my opinions.
Yeah.
There's been a little bit of talk on the record over the last week or so, and I kind of wanted to touch on a couple of things. I think what we're all anticipating, and what I can pretty confidently say that will be coming out at some point, is this. Intel x86 system on chips that integrate with Nvidia GPU chiplets. Some amalgam of an Intel CPU and SoC and IO die and whatever else needs to be placed onto a substrate of silicon, with an RTX core slapped on the side and enough bandwidth shared between them that it's a faster than normal bandwidth transfer than you get over PCIe 4, PCIe 5, especially on like a mobile or even a desktop chip. We start to see what Nvidia's making for like their big cloud customers, the GB300, Grace Blackwell, giant 72 core ARM with a couple of Blackwells strapped to it. scale that down into like consumer and or data center chips that could be deployed and socketable and share memory in a memory pool that you could load a server up with 6 terabytes worth, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Like, I think we can all understand that that's coming. But there's a couple of big questions left, and Intel is actually on the record on a couple of these. But also, funny enough, absent on like the 2 biggest answers. Number 1 is, are you going to build an x86 SoC with Nvidia with an RTX chiplet? And they said, well, yeah, that's certainly in the pipeline. Are you going to have a shared memory pool? No comment. Okay, so are you going to integrate HBM 3A onto the socket? Are we going to go full Sapphire Rapids and or Blackwell, GB300 with this? Are we going to try to incorporate memory directly on die? Because that's expensive. And I don't think that's what you're aiming for. Either of you. I don't think that's what Intel's aiming for. I don't think it's what Nvidia's aiming for. I think at a certain point, you're willing to sacrifice memory bandwidth for memory capacity and availability. Especially on the consumer side of things. If you can get even some LPDDR5X or LPDDR6 running at 10,000 megatransfers per second, and you give it a quad-core system where you're essentially getting 40,000 megatransfers. Look, you're not on the same order of magnitude of bandwidth as HBM or even GDDR6 or 7, but you're in the conversation. And now you have an x86 SoC that can handle all of the overhead and schedule, task scheduling and everything else. I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's probably what's cooking. Number 2, hey, Intel, you also make GPUs. What does this mean for you? And Tech Power Up, well, they quote PC World with this quote. Let me just flash on over here. So this article was posted today by Tech Power Up. Or no, this is back on September 19th. Excuse me. PC World apparently asked Nvidia or Intel, hey, what does this merger mean? And Intel responded, we're not discussing specific roadmaps at this time, but the collaboration is complementary to Intel's roadmap, and Intel will continue to have GPU product offerings. In relation to, hey, Intel, you also make GPUs. Are you going to keep making GPUs? And they said this a couple of weeks ago, and I've been parroting this for the last couple of weeks as well. I agree with that statement. I don't think NVIDIA's new partnership and partial ownership, 5% ownership of Intel, has anything to do with Intel's internal plans as far as developing their own graphics solution. There's no reason in the world Intel should give up their internal graphics division simply because they can buy a chiplet from NVIDIA. Because eventually that partnership will end. Eventually that partnership's going to dry up, and Intel will be left with absolutely zero intellectual property around graphics. And they'll be right back in the same situation they are today. Is Intel going to be a major player in graphics moving forward? That's a great question. I would love to see them as even a distant third player, but a player nonetheless. Because the only way industries grow is through fierce competition. The only way consumers get better products on a more regular basis with better prices is when someone is nipping at your heels in some form of the market. And right now, Intel has a product for $250 that is undercutting Nvidia and AMD's graphics products at $300 and $350 and $400. And I want to see them continue doing that. And I don't think a 5% buy-in, I don't think 2 to 3 months of revenue for Intel is worth trashing a graphics division. It's bad business to assume otherwise. Especially if Intel can start producing these products in-house. Like right now, Battle Mage is produced at TSMC. Who knows if their fabs can improve to the point where they can make their graphics in-house again and run them at Intel fabs. But I don't think Intel graphics go anywhere. Boom. Intel Arc Pro B60 Creator, 24 gigabyte. Intel Arc Pro B50 Creator, 16 gigabyte. Those are interesting products. And I do have a call out to Intel. Arc feels like it's dead. I don't think so. Austin. Is B50 a loss leader to keep them relevant? I don't know that Intel's graphics are making the money yet. But again, from what I've heard, Celestial is kind of where the rubber's going to meet the road in their third generation product. And look, I don't care if they're competing at the Halo level product. I don't care if, the RTX 6090 is out. That's cool. What do you got for $300?
Right.
Man, if Intel can compete there, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for them. Because it also means Intel's going to be competing in the integrated graphics realm. They're going to be competing in the APU realm. They're going to be putting up competitive products against AMD when it comes to, low to mid-range integrated graphics solutions. They'll be able to compete in handhelds again. They'll be able to compete in low-end desktops and Nook-style products. And that's all I want for the consumer. Like, those are parts that fly off the shelf when you're a consumer. And right now, AMD has the lion's share of that entire market. And man, all I want is Intel to compete there so prices go down and innovation goes up. Everyone wins. Yeah, I don't think Arc is dead. Yeah, GH100 has a 5120-bit bus. Yeah, but that's Hopper and that's HBM3E. And that's a bespoke data center part. So obviously that has more bandwidth. AMD's MI300 parts have more bandwidth. Discrete GPUs have more bandwidth with GDDR7. But there's also levels to everything. And I don't think Intel's going to compete with a GB300. But I think they could absolutely compete with a 5070. I think they could absolutely compete with a 9060 and a 9070.
Right.
The Arc A310 is great for transcoding in home lab. Yeah, the A310 is a killer product for transcode because Intel QuickSync is supported by basically every product and software stack you can run. It's supported by Blue Iris, it's supported by Plex, it's supported by Jellyfin, it's supported by NB. Anything you want to run at home that does video encoding, the A310 is fully supported. Including AV1 support, which not even a lot of the software stacks support yet, which is awesome. So, yeah, if you've been looking for an encoder card, screw buying a P400, P620, P1000, even a T400. Go snag an A310. You'll be pleasantly surprised. I have an A310 running in my home lab. It's running my Plex encoding, and it's great. One other story that popped up last week is this one. Intel may start making AMD CPUs at US foundries. Picture this. Interior, hotel, Phoenix, Arizona. I am having breakfast with a couple PR people for Intel and every tech journalist that you respect in this industry. And this news floats across my phone. And everyone's phone kind of buzzes at the same time. We all kind of go, oh, well, that's interesting. Is this being recorded? This is Michael. I'm just going to say, without giving away any details of any kind, that one person around that table sent out a text message. And 30 seconds later, got back a resounding no. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about how that transaction went down.
Interesting.
This is not official. This is not an official statement. But we're all sitting around that table. And someone goes, hold on. Yeah, they said no.
I feel like we all know somebody at that table with the audacity to send a text like that.
Does this involve Chips and Cheese? Chips and Cheese was sitting to my right. This was the person to my left.
Yeah, I was gonna say like cheese is too too demure to send that text.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm not. I would have sent that text. Yeah.
If only there was somebody with that number in their phone.
Someone sitting at our table went like, I know exactly the person who could answer this. And they texted them. I'm not even going to tell you which company they work for, what outlet it was, what in any of the details. I'm just going to say they texted someone. I trust them, and I know the person they texted. And the answer was no. And no, it's also not Dr. Ian Cuttress.
Oh, damn it. That was my guess.
Yep. Nope. Was not him as well. And that's the last no answer I'm going to give. From now on, I'm just going to say I'm not going to say. I'm going to say it wasn't Cheese, and I'm going to say it wasn't Ian. But Intel may start making AMD CPUs at US foundries. Based on what?
Well, what's the article say?
Yeah. Intel has begun preliminary discussions with AMD about producing the latter company's high-end processors at US-based foundries. AMD hasn't produced its own chips in almost 2 decades since their spin-off of Global Foundries. In recent generations, used cutting-edge processes from TSMC. However, with TSMC primarily based in Taiwan, there is an increasing tension from nearby China and the United States to push for more domestic production. AMD is reportedly considering Intel as a potential partner. I'm going to say, of course. Of course, a discussion has taken place. Of course.
Yeah.
Look, there's only two
discussions
fabs
are always happening.
Look, there's only 3 fabs in the world that could possibly produce AMD's chips. That's TSMC, it's Samsung, and it's Intel. There's only 2 with the scale that can produce the order of magnitude that AMD needs. And that's TSMC and that's Intel. But I'm telling you, there's outside of like a phone call of like, hey, Trump said he's going to tariff everything. Could we do stuff over at yours? Well, yeah, I guess if it came to that, cool. All right, cool. Cool. End of discussion.
Done deal. There's
not a roadmap. There's not a handshake agreement. There's not a buy-in. And that was the other thing with like the Nvidia thing. Nvidia bought 5% of Intel. I don't think Nvidia is going to have their chips made at Intel either. And that's simply from what I know about Intel fabs, is because Samsung and TSMC, the way they run their fabs is almost like standards based. Like we run this fab and we can etch your processor this way and we can photo EUV it out. Intel has some more specific processes in place that are specific to their foundry. And so to run your chips on Intel fabs would also mean not only changing the way you make some of your CPUs, changing some of your processes and whatnot, it would also mean giving your direct competitor some of your most valuable IP.
Right.
And remember, Intel Foundry is still Intel proper. There's no spin-off. If you were AMD, would you want to go, here's all of our development that's gone into Zen 6. Would you press this for us? Be serious.
Why?
Be honest
yes,
with yourself.
We
No.
would.
That's never going to happen. Unless Intel Foundry spins off into its own unique entity, but at the moment, there's absolutely zero sign of that happening. And I know, like, there'd be laws and collusion, like, protections in place, but you're still not gonna do that.
Yeah. Well, stories like this are kind of like a larger symptom of changing journalism throughout the world, right? Because there was a time where you probably had editors and journalists in a newsroom like this that could tell somebody, bro, that's just water cooler talk. That's not a story.
Mm-hmm.
But now that story makes it to print because there's nobody with that sort of institutional experience and knowledge left to say, bro, that's just water cooler talk. You can't print.
Yeah.
So they print it.
Yep.
I mean, it's like the fact that, I don't know, yes, there's always talks about everything.
Yeah.
There's always considerations about everything.
Yeah. I guarantee at the executive level, in some way, shape, or form, there has been a call between Nvidia and Intel and AMD and Intel going, hey, look, if the US goes to war with China/Taiwan, could we produce parts at your fab? And Intel goes, yeah, we could probably make that happen. Cool. Good talk, bro.
Right.
I guarantee that talk has taken place because you would be stupid not to have a backup plan in place.
Yeah.
And as a company that large, as a global manufacturer, you have to have contingencies in place when you do not own the entire top to bottom scale of your means of production. Nvidia doesn't own their own fabs. AMD doesn't own their own fabs, at least not anymore, because they spun off Global Foundries 20 years ago. Intel owns their own fabs. Also, those fabs are in the US. AMD and Nvidia would be stupid not to at least keep a line of communication open, going like, hey, I don't know if you saw, but there's like been some like military action off the coast. Just in case, we can move production over to you, right? Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it when that comes. Okay, cool. Thanks. Good talk, bro. We'll get coffee next time.
Well, and we've seen it throughout the last, few decades where natural disaster happens. We were just talking about this.
Right.
Natural disaster happens and floods your factory or knocks your factory offline or changes some. So it doesn't even have to be, war. It could just be a freaking bad tsunami or a bad monsoon or something.
I'm sure Intel has had talks with TSMC about, hey, when the big earthquake hits Oregon and Washington, can we move production to you? I'm sure there's a contingency in place because you'd be stupid not to. But at the same time, Intel is also not going to hand over their most valuable IP to the global's biggest competitor. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting story. But
yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Confirmed in Phoenix in a
Mm.
hotel breakfast place. Not
Hearsay.
true.
Hearsay.
Sources tell us, sources who are close to the
A source
situation tell
close to
us.
Craft Computing um, denies this claim. How's that?
It's as good as truth. Pred tit.
Oh gosh. Vince says, Kraft, you're assuming that orgs at this scale do risk mitigation like certain governments and their data centers. How
Oh,
convenient of you
yeah.
to provide me the perfect segue. Um South Korea's government may have permanently lost 858 terabytes, almost a full petabyte worth of information after a crucial hard drive. I'm assuming a stack of hard drives, like a full rack, um, was destroyed in a fire at a data center. As reported by DCD in Korea, a battery fire, so a UPS battery fire, at the
Oh,
National
man.
Information Resource Service data center located in Daejeon on September 26 has caused havoc for government services in Korea. So let this be a lesson. RAID is not a backup. And when we're talking about G Drive from here on out, that's known as government drive, not Google's old product known as G Drive. G Drive, which stands for government drive, is not a Google product. It was used by government staff to keep documents and other files. Each worker was allocated 30 gigabytes of space. The G Drive couldn't have a backup system due to its large capacity of only 1 petabyte. I have been in talks personally this year to put 3 petabytes in my rack at my house as a review project.
You're not a government entity, Jeff.
I'm not a government entity. But due to its size of 858 terabytes, there is no backup of these files. While some departments do not rely on G Drive, those that do have been badly impacted by the aftermath of the fire. As of Saturday, only 115 of 647 affected networks have been restored, a recovery rate of 17.8%. Full recovery is expected to take a month. The government says it will offer alternatives to most important services. 4 people have been arrested as the police investigate whether professional negligence contributed to the fire. So they arrested 4 IT people for not...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same place that arrested their president for trying to have a coup, so
Yeah.
why wouldn't they?
Right? By the way, I love that 2 weeks ago I posted a video on my channel about how to take proper 321 backups fully automated in a TrueNAS environment.
Well, you should have translated it to Korean.
I should have.
There's an untapped market over there, apparently.
Yeah.
Untapped audience potential.
Cue the song After the Fire by Roger Daltrey and The Who. If I was the IT workers, I would say We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel.
Yeah, there you go.
3 petabytes at your house? You could host offline backups for Korea.
Wow, this business just sells itself, doesn't it?
Oh, gosh. That's funny.
Jeff, you want me to get on the horn with Korea? We can see if we can come to an arrangement here.
We can fast track this agreement.
I mean, honestly, for that amount of data, I'm like, what? Like, they didn't. There's not like a Backblaze like platinum plan or something, you know? Like,
Right.
just literally anything. Carbonite gold. Like, it's, well, if it goes, it goes. It's not important stuff anyway. I mean, each employee only has 30 gigabytes of space. it's basically a glorified, it's like almost what you get for free with a Google account.
Right? Um, like I think my Google Enterprise is entitled to like 10 terabytes. It used to be unlimited until some of you fuckers abused it. And
You're
now it's
welcome.
like 10 terabytes is I think what I have on my Enterprise G drive. Um, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how inexpensive storage really is.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, a former colleague of mine reached out and he said, "Hey, do you have any like affiliate or anything like that for 45 drives? Because I have a company that is looking for a fairly large file server that they can run for video production." And I said, "Well, no, I don't. But tell them I called and let them know I sent you the the reference by any means." Apparently, their project just got approved for a 45 drives AV60, which is their 60 drive unit with a 3.2 petabyte capacity.
Nice.
So some video production house in Portland just bought 3 petabytes, and Korea couldn't be asked to buy an extra petabyte for their servers.
You don't get it, Jeff, okay? This is the government. This is the government in action.
Sorry, it was 1.8 petabytes is what they bought.
Oh,
But it was only
still,
like
the point holds.
$65,000. Like, it wasn't that expensive, all things considered.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Super chat.
Super chat. Jay sends over $5. Thank you so much. Jeff is not a government entity. God, not with that attitude.
Hashtag craft Genta.
uh,
Yeah, pretty soon, Jeff, you can make your leap into being a government. It's got to hang in there.
I don't know that I want
Just got
to.
to hang in there. I know.
I mean, are we talking U.S. government or Cascadia? Because one of them, sure.
I mean, pretty soon it's going to be all individualized communes anyway,
Mm-hmm.
banded together by common mutual interest. So
We'll call
you can
them
have whatever you
states.
want.
Can I say this as a millennial? Can I be done living in interesting times? I just want to live in times.
Sorry, that's against the law.
Please?
Get him.
Just just times for me. Thank you.
It's not allowed, bro. You have to be proud of this.
I don't wanna.
See, just like we're the generation that what did I say the other day? It's like we're the generation that's converting hard copies to PDF and converting PDF to hard copies. Okay, now that's an analogy for the times. Okay, we're converting this time to that time so that we can convert this time to that time. We're going through it
Yeah.
to get to the other side. You know?
Jeff just missed Gen X. Yeah. See, when I was a kid, I was told I was Gen X, and then I became Gen Y for a little while. And then I was a millennial, and then I wasn't, and then I was an elder millennial.
I mean, Gen Y was like what became millennial.
Right. But the definitions were a little fuzzy.
I don't know. It's like boomer. You know what I mean? There's like a 20-year window for boomer, you know?
Yeah.
It's like post-war, but like pre-Vietnam,
Right.
you know? Like people born in 1964 is a boomer as well as somebody born in 1947, you
Yeah.
know? It's like two wildly, completely different time periods.
I mean, a little bit.
One person could get drafted into Vietnam, the other person didn't.
What's funny is I've actually been reading a little bit more about this, about some of the micro generations that exist within both Gen X and Millennial, because there's like 5-year periods of like massive world changes that, depending on where you were, just developmentally, could wildly change your generational swing. Because to me, the definition of millennial that always stood out is we don't know a time before the internet. And for me, that couldn't be further from the truth, because I grew up well before the internet. Like, I have I built my first computer within the first couple of years of the internet's existence. Like, I was old enough to build my first PC and connect it with America Online floppy disks. But by the time I was in high school, like, internet wasn't like a guaranteed thing to be in every classroom or every situation. Well before smartphones, well before internet and or any kind of connected device was with you. In college, I did have a laptop in which I had to buy a PCMCIA Wi-Fi card to get Wi-Fi within the commons of my college. But I also hacked my cell phone for unlimited internet and tethering capability. So I had unlimited internet on my cell phone that I could tether to my laptop for $10 a month. It was great. It was the Wild West. It was so much fun. But there's a generation that's 5 years older than me that has a completely different high school experience because internet didn't exist when they went through high school. And then I have a generation that's 5 years older than me that saw the inception of the iPhone. And so it's weird, man.
Well, it's all there's always going to be micro generations, I think, like, more likely, if something doesn't fit, it's just because we've come up with a bad, criteria for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like my older brother's born in 1982, so he's like definitely an elder millennial, and he would have never considered himself a millennial until people started changing the criteria and altering this, and his experience doesn't really jive with the traditional Gen X experience either.
Yeah.
But but there's a huge gap, because I think, like, technically, like, the millennial generation ends in like 1996, or like as far as birthdays, and so that's a big gap too. And there's a lot of my brother went throughout high school without
someone born in 82 has a wildly different experience from someone born in 97, and that makes sense. But also, someone born in 92 has a wildly different experience from either of them. And,
100%.
Yeah, and so it's weird.
I always heard that, I don't know. If you're thinking about global overview, you can't really escape the impact that 9/11 had on the millennial generation, But, my brother was of the generation that, like, he could have served overseas.
Yeah.
And many people of his age group did because of a result of that. But I was too young to really have hit that mark. I mean, I still could have.
Right.
But I missed the kind of intense sort of opening block of that, where you saw it on the news all the time.
Yeah, I was in high school during 9/11. I watched it. My dad woke me up in the morning and said a plane is crashing into the World Trade Center, and we watched live on TV as the second one hit. And then I went to school for a 0-period jazz band at 7:10 in the morning, and I watched the towers collapse in my band class live. So
yeah, I think in today's day and age they probably would have, like, closed the schools a lot faster.
Well, we were also in Oregon, so
yeah, like, we're fine, you know what I mean? But, like, still kind of a weird situation, like, I don't know anybody that didn't see the second plane hit. Well, it's not true. My brother was in boot camp and they didn't tell them about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my brother went another like 6 weeks in boot camp and then came out and he's like, "What?
Yeah. Oh, that was
What
a
do you
whole
mean
thing? What?
you gotta take your shoes off?
Yeah.
I didn't have to take my shoes off to get here. Now I do."
Yeah. I was talking to my dad the other night because in the he goes, I don't remember how old you were, but I remember he had some training to do. So we lived in I was born in Oregon, raised in Oregon my whole life, and then he had some training to do in like Secaucus, New Jersey, and he goes, I remember having to fly away, and he goes, I don't remember how old you were, and I said, I totally remember you flying away, and I can tell you it was before 2001 because we walked you to the gate.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting times. Well,
Yep.
Jeff, someday you may get your wish. We will move on. We'll be just living in times. But dare I say, you might come to miss it. The ability to ruin your whole day just by looking at your phone.
I don't think we will. I don't think we
God, I
will.
hope you're right. I hope you're right. Oh,
I
man.
I my one hope for the future is my kids get to live in times. Not interesting. They just get to
Amen.
live in
Amen.
times. Zeus sends over $10. Okay, boomenial.
Yep.
That's easy for someone to say with 12 minutes experience on that side of the millennium. I know when your birthday is, so don't test me.
See, as far as all the generational divide goes, I always appreciated this Kurt Vonnegut quote, He wrote all this scathing satire, and one of the things his kids would always be like, "Well, your generation screwed up," and he'd be like, "Hey, what the fuck? We just got here."
Yeah. I remember
Like
being
we're all figuring it out.
I remember being so irate because, again, I'm on the elder scale of millennial. And I remember being irate that I was called Gen X my entire life and maybe like fringe Gen Y. And then all of a sudden I got out of high school and they're like, you're just a millennial. And I went, what the hell does that mean? And they're like, you don't remember a time before the internet. And it's like, the internet didn't come into vogue until like 2003. Like, yeah, I know it was created in 92, but did you live through dial-up? Did you live through all this? I remember a time before dial-up. I remember building my own PC from scratch and not having internet connection to download drivers. I remember all of this other stuff. You know, by the time the internet came out and was like readily available to everyone at all times, like through their normal lives, and not even like smartphone, but just like, I'm going to prove you wrong in an argument. I'm going to set a reminder, or I'm going to set an alarm on my calculator watch so I can look up this argument at 6 o'clock tonight when I get home and can sign on AOL and can look up the answer to that. By the time that
Bro has a
came in
calculator
vogue,
watch.
we
Damn.
couldn't use the internet as a reference in papers. Like, I still had to look up encyclopedia references all through high school.
Yeah, same.
So, who the hell are you calling millennial? Like, what?
Well, the people that are saying that though, Jeff, you just gotta understand they got a broken idea of what it is, anyways. And then they went on to continue to, you know, begrudge millennials for shit like avocado toast
And destroying the housing market
Yeah, that was
at
us.
age
We did
22.
it. Yeah, no, those are the types of people that like they're not even worth your time to consider because nothing that they've said about us has ever been true to begin with. They've
Right.
got this broken idea of whatever garbage, they heard on the radio that day.
Millennials are killing the restaurant industry. Good. I think Applebee's deserves to die.
No, not the. I still want to eat good in the neighborhood.
The
They
hell
got the
with
two
your
for
2 for
25, Jeff.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's time to go, Applebee's. You know, when the war in Ukraine broke out, I was watching live coverage of it, and the city of Kyiv was being bombed, and they were showing like cruise missiles going off, and they literally broke coverage to play an Applebee's commercial, and I think about that all the time. I think about that all the time. Welcome to the future.
Yep. And Vince says, we're back to a point of not being able to reference the internet as a source thanks to AI.
Yeah.
What was old is new again. Yeah, there's that.
I've said this before, but you know, this whole AI thing, it's made me go backwards in a way, and I'm actually appreciating it. I'm having a good time. I say this all the time. The most basic thing I've done, give up streaming music.
Yeah.
I listen to music that I own and control and can make copies of and put wherever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah.
I don't, if I can't buy it, I don't listen to it. Like there's unfortunately a lot of bands are only on Spotify or whatever. Oh well, there's a million more that I can listen to. A million more. If anything, my life is more interesting because I can't just go listen to something because it's easier. In no way has the convenience of streaming been something that has changed my life for the better. So no, going backwards is actually kind of nice. It's more intentional.
Yeah.
I'm listening to things I wouldn't have listened to if I was occupied on Spotify or whatever.
Yeah.
It's great.
I remember having arguments in high school with my teacher telling me you're not going to carry a calculator with you at all times, and me holding up my cell phone and going, I have a calculator right here. And they're like, phones aren't allowed in school. And I'm like, well, whatever. I have a calculator on me. Can I use it on the test? No, because you're not going to hold a calculator with you. I'm like, I'm never going to be without a cell phone again. You understand this, right? Sure, maybe not a graphing calculator. Oh, wait. No, we have those now, too. Like,
heck yeah. Well, it's almost a quarter after. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this was still a good stout, but it's not what I wanted.
I don't blame you.
Yep. Tech news? We did tech news. We covered all the stories.
There was some that weren't even linked.
Yeah.
There were some that weren't even linked in the show notes, Jeff.
Yeah. What's 22 divided by 7? It's 20. It's 7 1/3. I can do that in one in my head. Thank you very much. Sorry, 7.333 repeating. Because calculators don't do fractions, but it's 7 1/3. Am I going to spank John Jay? I should, because he's the one that sent me this particular beer, and 3.14, but not pi. Just ends 3.14. I remember one day on Reddit, I was trolling a bunch of people. And I think I said something to the effect of pi has an end because you can't have 0 with a remainder. And I was... There's plenty of zeros in pi. It's just the answer was 30, not 0. So it's really fun when you... Yeah, everything exists in pi. At least 3 billion decimals out, pi still exists. Which I'm still irritated at LMG that they didn't go for 3.14 billion, because the answer was right frickin' there. Like, if you're gonna go for it, go for the meme answer and calculate 3.14159 billion decimals of pi.
Not everything's a meme to some people, Jeff. They're normal.
I know. Yeah.
They're not thinking
to Gen Z, everything is a meme. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
they're like, yep, shut up. Not even close to Gen Z. There's nothing remotely Gen Z about me. I'm the epitome of millennial.
You use Riz unironically. Don't bullshit me.
No shit. But you know what, Jeff? I have to tell this to everybody. We, a millennial, invented Skibbity Toilet. A millennial invented it.
You're not wrong.
We're the kings of the bullshit comedy.
You're not wrong.
Like, we're kings of the internet brain rot comedy. We invented it. The Zoomers, they just adopted it.
Yep.
They ran with it. So there you go. Now you know.
There you go. Rett has Riz, leave him alone. This is terrific. I love that there's like 3.5 years between us, and I can still give you crap for that. Because again, like micro-generational, like...
Yeah.
Like, there's only 3.5 or 4 years between us. There is still a generational divide between you and me, though. But there's also a generational divide between me and people who are 3 and 4 years older than me. So...
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where I feel like I can really identify when people are born within a year of me, like either direction.
Yeah.
So like I was telling you this the other day. I was talking to my son's doctor, and the way he was talking, I just knew that he was born my same year. Mm-hmm. And later on, I looked it up, and I was like, sure as shit. Mm-hmm. You know what he said, Jeff? That really said, because I was thinking a lot of his cultural touchstones and everything were sounding really familiar, but then he threw out the word Gucci just casually, and I was like, that's
of your timeline. There's a 2-year section in which I've heard people use Gucci, and no one on either side of it does. That is the slang you certainly invented. And I will give your generation full credit for that.
You know, I'll take credit for it, but it was my buddy worked at Dutch Bros, and he's the one that brought that to me. He worked at Dutch Bros Coffee. He always said swag and Gucci.
Swag, yeah.
Again, that's like his way.
Again, another term that like I know it came from us and whatnot. But no one of my age would be caught dead using.
Well, especially, like, it's just a weird word because to us, I feel like to you and me, it probably means something different than it does to other people. Because he was using it to mean cool. Yeah. So somebody would be like, oh, did you hear about that cool? He'd be like, oh, swag.
Oh, that's Gucci. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, all right.
Whereas we'll say sweet. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, swag. No, that's sweet.
Yeah, sweet. Sweet's the universal. I'll say sick when I'm talking to somebody with like long hair and a beard, or they're wearing like just the right type of black t-shirt, you know?
But
like,
see, sick I think came from after you, because that comes from the Tony Hawk generation. That comes from like the 94 and up.
Yeah, but those people, they weren't like, there's people of the Tony Hawk generation, quote unquote, that like were talking that way unironically because they were in the Tony Hawk game or something. You know what I mean? Like,
meanwhile, I'd use something like Baller. Like that's one of ours.
Baller's quite
yeah.
Bit. Yeah, Baller's pretty good. I'm not afraid of any slang terms. I'm gonna use them all.
Yeah.
There's just too many skibbity ones. You know what I'm saying? There's some Ohio ones too, but
yeah,
no cap on God, you know. Yeah. But
for real.
Chat, we cooking?
Are we on?
It's giving. Damn it! I ruined it.
That reference was lit, yo.
Oh God. I saw a meme just like, you know, somebody trying to uncover the difference between like, well, what's the difference between like, you know, being cooked and like cooking, you know? And it's like, would you rather be in the pot or out of it?
Right. Right. One you want to be doing, the other you don't want done to you.
Yeah,
and
I was like, oh damn, that's some philosophy for
I don't want to be
ages right
cooked.
there.
I want to be the one cooking. Right.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can tell my generation didn't come up with that because it would have been cookin', not cooking.
Now we cooking.
Yeah, we didn't believe in the full ing. It was in
Yeah.
apostrophe for everything.
Hell yeah. As it should be.
Right. Legal weed here in Canada, I'm cooked. No, that's baked. That's a different one entirely.
Skibbity rolls.
Yeah, skibbity rolls off Rett's tongue too easily.
It
You're
does,
not
man.
wrong.
I'm not afraid of slang. I'm gonna say it all the time.
Yeah. I'll chat with Rett every once in a while, and he'll shoot some. You Gucci? God damn it! I'm fine if that's what you're asking.
You told me the other day. You're like, I think I went a year without hearing somebody ask about her say the word Gucci.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go another year.
Yeah. That sounds like
that
me.
ain't happening.
That sounds like me. All right, chat. This has been episode 403 of Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Drop us a like. We would very much appreciate that. And if you like the content you see on this channel, want to help support us in what we do, join the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, as well as all the other hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
We also got Secret Santa gearing up, so if you're interested in doing that,
Yes.
take a look. There's more about it in the Discord server. You know, we know things are tight this year, things are changing, but if Secret Beer Santa sounds interesting to you, go get the information on the Discord server. Yep. It's always been a hit year after year. So, get beers from across the globe delivered to you. And send beers from your locale in turn.
Yep. Yeah, we do an annual beer exchange called the Beer Secret Santa. It's organized over on my Discord server, which you can only get access to via the Patreon, so link in the description. Funky Monk, otherwise known as the Podcast Monkey. He's the one who keeps the podcast updated every week. He rips the audio off these streams and uploads it to Spotify, and then it disseminates from there, but he's the one who set up that whole process. He is the one that administers the Beer Secret Santa every year. This is our 5th or 6th year doing this. I think we started it in 2020. So this would be year 6. So huge thanks to Funky Monk, regular mod over on the channel, and like I said, Podcast Monkey extraordinaire. But yeah, if you're interested in getting on with that, we need signups by November 1st. We will assign Secret Santas on November 1st, and then you need to ship out by December 1st. Cool. So head on over to the Craft Computing Discord server, jump into the Secret Santa channel, and get more information.
Cool.
Other than that, this has been a show. Thank you all so much. This has been fun, and